husband got a kick out of Mr. Furman last night with his retrograde comments. So I just want to throw out there that Mercury went retrograde as of January 21st, and this remains there until Wednesday, February 11th of this year. Anything dealing with communication, broadcasting, electronics, automobile. This is also on a negative chain reactions with accidents happening. The time to be very, very careful in those areas. When you take the road, it will take a toll on many if they're not awake and aware of it. Also, the past comes back to life, so you may come across people from your past, get-togethers with old high school friends or something like that, phone calls from people you've known for 20 years back, 30 years back. But on a negative too, it also creates aeronautical disasters. So buy your airline tickets in good stars. Mercury retrograde will not affect you. With that being said, I'm hoping that we'll have a good show because Mercury's retrograde and it's hell for us broadcasters. So, without any further ado, tonight I am joined by a fellow DTM radio host here at DTM Wicked Radio. His name is Bill Bachman, and he is the host of Incubi Incarnate Broadcasting, which you can hear right here on DTM Wicked every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. And on Friday nights at 7 p.m., you can hear his show on www.incubineincarnate.com. Bill, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Linda. Thanks for having me on here.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining me. I know it was a last-minute thing, and I always try to get hosts from the network at least, 4 or 5 times a year. I try to get some hosts to, let my listening audience listen to your shows as well, because your shows are very, very interesting. Cryptozoology, UFOlogy, the paranormal. It's right up my alley. I'm sure it's up my listeners' alleys as well. So tell me, Bill, I was reading your little bio, and it said that you were a skeptic for a great many years in this field.
Oh, absolutely. My interests were always ufology, aliens, even some cryptozoology, but I wasn't a huge believer in ghosts or that kind of thing. But I had my own little encounter, and it changed my whole outlook on that part of it.
Yeah, that's usually what happens for a great many. I noticed so many paranormal investigators were skeptics in the beginning. I'm not all, but some, a great many I've talked to, they've said, I never believed in anything until, this happened to me. Tell me a little bit about your show, because I'm fascinated with you have a lot of interesting topics. Maybe I want my listening audience to kind of know some of the things you touch on your show.
Absolutely. We have a range. We talk about, ghost investigations. We have ghost hunters on. We have cryptozoologists on. We have ufologists on. We have shamans on. We pop culture people. Just if it's anything pop culture or paranormal, then we try to cover it. It's just a blast. In a lot of this, because I'm no expert on anything, so a lot of this I'm learning as our listeners learn, and we approach it that way too. We kind of educate some of the people that are like me that aren't experts on everything. Ask some basic questions and go into more advanced questions, but just a entire broad spectrum of anything paranormal and pop culture.
I try and keep my show like that too. It's a potpourri of metaphysical and paranormal stuff. It keeps your options open. You cover all kinds of things and not limited to just astrology or there's a whole other world beyond astrology, UFOs, the paranormal, cryptozoology, Bigfoot, the New Jersey Devil.
Right.
But,
right.
you know, let me ask you, you're a paranormal investigator on the side. You do that part-time, or is that a full-time hobby? Or
No, actually, I have. This is one of the little twists to our show. I've never been on investigation. That's nothing I've ever been into. You know, like where I grew up, it's just not a prevalent thing. And like, I love the TV shows and I like all that, but I'm not an investigator. I've never.
Okay.
I've never been on an investigation.
Well, you know, that's good. You kind of have an advantage then from others, because you're seeing things from the outside in, as to our investigators. You know, we're all in the box and seeing on the out. You know, looking from the outside inside. You know. Wow. Well, let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was going to say, you're an investigator? Do you go on investigation?
I do it part-time. I'm not, you know, I consider myself a novice, and I mean that literally. I haven't been doing it for a great many years or anything like that, but I probably go on about 4 or 5 a year with certain groups. I go with one up in Yuba City. I've gone to the Hornet and done one. I've done some local residential ones as well that I don't discuss because they're kind of, you know, old Italian Catholics don't want, you know, to know that the Spreakers come into their house to rid the ghosts for them. But I do some investigations. It's fun. Sometimes it, you know, like I went on the Hornet a couple of months ago, and I think it kicked my ass. It just could not handle a certain room with all these over 100+ sailors had died, and I could just feel the energy, and it was just bizarre. I never felt that weird on an investigation in my entire life.
Oh, wow. How many investigations do you think you've been on?
I'm going to go with probably 8. I've been on about 8, and one UFO Skywatch that I did with another fellow host here at DTM, Christina George and Renee Chavez. I went on a Skywatch with them. God, that was probably a year and a half ago, June of 2013. We did night vision goggles, and we stayed up all night, and we're not alone in this universe. It convinced me right then and there that night that
we're not at all.
We're not alone in any sense of the way, and the heavens were very active that night. And it's amazing what those night vision goggles can do, because with the naked eye, you look up and you don't see anything. You put these goggles on and you look up, and we had an advantage because we didn't have to wear goggles. They had attached it to a big screen TV outside, so everyone could just sit and look at the TV, and you could see the stars, and you could see things moving in the sky. It was really very incredible. That's one thing I recommend everyone get an opportunity to do. Go and do a night watch with those night vision goggles. If anyone's into the UFO thing, it's amazing.
I would love to do that, because I'm fascinated with ufology and things like that. And Christina, that you worked with, she's super nice. I've talked to her a little bit on social media, but
yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah,
she's very, very good at it too. She's her and Renee have done a lot of investigations, both paranormal and UFO. I would personally like to do more UFO stuff. I'm fascinated. Ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated with outer space. I'm a big Star Wars fan. That might explain some things.
Well, I am too. But like you imagine the Sahara Desert, and like one grain of sand, that's Earth. It's stupid to think that there's nothing else out there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it would be arrogant of us as humans, and there are some that are...
Oh, my God. I use that word all the time. I always say it's arrogant to think that we're the only thing here. That's awesome.
It's true, though. It would be arrogant of us as human beings to think that we are the only species, the only life form in the galaxy. The solar system is so vast, and there's things that haven't even been discovered by our scientists. I'm almost convinced that we share their DNA. Sometimes I think they're our maker. I mean, we can correlate the hidden scriptures of the Bible into this, where, if those scriptures had been put into the Bible, humanity would be very different today. Things have been kept from us. Knowledge and information, I think, has been kept from us. What's your take on that, Bill?
Oh, my God. It's like you listened to... I co-hosted a show last Sunday with a great friend of ours, Rocky Stucci. That's what we were talking about, and you're, like, preaching to the choir. I told him, we're like hybrids. I don't think we're entirely Earthen. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's like on a cellular level from asteroids or comets or whatever, we're not. Everything isn't. Human isn't just from Earth. I think, and I don't like freaking people out or turning off listeners of my show. Right. But it's. I think we're kind of hybrids. Like, I think we're made up of a bunch of different things. Not all of it's from Earth.
I agree with that. Absolutely. It's funny you bring that up. I don't watch a whole lot of ridiculous stuff on TV, except for the Mob Wives. That's my only weakness. My Mob Wives. I love it. I feel like I'm Staten Island. But I watch a lot of different weird UFO shows. I spend a great deal of time watching interesting stuff on TV, and I was just watching this thing. I can't remember what it's got to either be like an Ancient Aliens or it was a History Channel or a sci-fi thing about how they think that the Sphinx in Egypt was rebuilt to put a human face on it. 12,000 years ago, there was actually the underworld. I'm not very good at my Egyptian mythology here, but it was a face of one of the gods. I think it was the ruler of the underworld. I think that's the jackal. Anybody in my chat can elaborate on which god this was? That would be excellent, because I can only remember Isis, Osiris, and Ra. Bill, do you have any idea which god I'm talking about?
All these shows, I remember everything, and I remember taking history and everything, but I can't keep everything straight. I mean, I hate to speculate. I hate to try to get it.
Me too. All I know is they found evidence that the Sphinx was built more than 5,000 years ago, as it says in, I guess, theologian history or theologian philosophy, that the limestone dates back far greater and far older, and that the face looks like it was rebuilt or restructured to create a human face instead of an alien face of some sort. That's where they were going with this. Wow. They didn't want to freak out humans. I wish I could remember what the name of the show. Sometimes I can't sleep, so I sit up at 1, 2 in the morning and watch these crazy shows and go and give myself ideas for radio shows. It's like, ooh, gotta try that.
No, but some of those shows are awesome. Have you seen how they've tried to recreate cuts in granite and things like that they did back 5,000 years ago that we can't do now with our technology?
I know. I've seen that. That just floors me. Especially the Egyptians. They were very advanced racist people, if you want to call them a race. Racist people. I mean, even the whole thing with the pyramids. I'm sorry, Israelites did not build those pyramids. I think there was I don't want to say higher power, because then that insults certain other people, but it was definitely an extraterrestrial presence, in my opinion.
Well, can't you kind of see that with the hieroglyphics, the